In this video, we're stepping into two very different worlds. Two short films, two unique journeys, all in one video. One story will pull you into a mystery filled with strange forces and life-changing twists. The other will take you across the boundaries of time, where love demands the ultimate sacrifice. Each tale will make you think, touch your heart, and maybe even leave you questioning your own choices. So, let's begin with the first story. The story opens with Jack and Sally busy working around their home. They share the space with their loyal dog, Jackson. Suddenly, something extraordinary happens. A meteorite crashes into the ground just behind their house. Curious, Jackson runs toward the spot where it lands. The moment he reaches it, a strange vibration ripples through the air, a sensation that Jack and Sally feel as well. Jack steps outside to check on his dog, but Jackson is nowhere in sight. Confused, he looks around, trying to figure out where his pet could have gone. Then, from above, the sound of barking catches his attention. To his shock, Jackson is standing on the roof. Jack can't understand how his dog could possibly have gotten up there. Sally comes outside too, and in the very next moment, both of them are left stunned, because standing there are not one, but two identical dogs. It's as if someone has made a perfect copy of Jackson. They can't even tell which one is the real one. They quickly realize that the strange crater behind their house, the one created by the meteorite, must be responsible for this. To test it, Jack places his shoes near the crater, but nothing happens. Sally suggests that perhaps it only affects things that are alive. Acting on that thought, Jack places a flower pot there instead. Instantly, the same strange vibration occurs, and the flower pot vanishes from sight. When Jack climbs up to the roof, the same place where he saw Jackson earlier, he finds not one, but two identical flower pots. Now they understand. The crater has the power to create a clone of anything living or non-living that comes into contact with it. That night, Jack drifts off to sleep, but Sally lies awake, her mind restless. She can't stop thinking about the mysterious crater and the strange power it holds. The next morning, Jack wakes to find Sally staring intently at the very same flower pot the crater had duplicated. But for now, Jack has to leave for work. Later that evening, when he returns home, Sally shares what she has discovered. She has spent the entire day researching the crater and has learned that it can create a copy of absolutely anything. To prove it, she shows Jack a collection of food items from their kitchen, each one now doubled. She tries to taste one of the cloned items, but Jack warns her against it. Ignoring his concern, Sally takes a bite anyway and insists that it tastes completely normal, exactly like the original. Jack, however, feels uneasy. He believes they should inform the government, as the aftereffects of such a phenomenon could be dangerous. This suggestion angers Sally. She argues that if the authorities find out, they will take control of the crater, and the two of them will lose the ability to clone anything. Reluctantly, Jack agrees to keep it a secret. That night, as they sleep, Jack is awakened by a faint sound. He gets out of bed and walks in the other room, only to be stunned by what he sees. There is another Sally. Without telling him, she has cloned herself. Jack is determined to find out which one is the real Sally. He sits them both down and asks questions about their past, thinking only the original would know the answers. To his shock, both Sallys remember everything perfectly. He realizes the meteorite's crater doesn't just clone living beings, it also copies their memories. Jack is furious that Sally made such a huge decision without telling him, but now he has no choice but to live with both of them. The three begin sharing the same home. Over time, complications creep in. Whenever Jack spends time with one Sally, the other becomes jealous. Each believes she is the real one, and both want his full attention. Jack tries to reason with them, but at first, neither understands. They both want to claim him entirely. As time passes, however, the two Sallys start getting along. They learn to live together peacefully, and with the crater's power, they never run out of food or supplies. Yet, despite this abundance, Jack feels unsettled. His life has changed in a way he never imagined, and it's not a change that brings him happiness. One day, Jack throws away all the clone food. From a distance, Sally watches him do it. Her expression makes it clear she doesn't like what she's seeing, but she says nothing. By now, the two Sallys spend most of their time together, enjoying each other's company far more than Jack's. This leaves Jack feeling increasingly isolated and alone in his own home. The next day, while Jack is repairing the ceiling, one of the Sallys approaches from behind and strikes him on the head. He falls, and the impact takes his life. The other Sally witnesses this, but feels no concern. She has grown to prefer the company of her duplicate over Jack's. Time passes, and one day, Sally notices something strange. The very first plant Jack had cloned is still perfectly healthy, while the original has withered away. She realizes that two identical versions of the same thing cannot exist in one reality without consequence. The clone slowly destroys the original. This is the real Sally making the discovery, and she now understands that the clone she created will eventually destroy her as well. Regret fills her heart. She wishes she had listened to Jack, because his death is ultimately the result of her decision. Gradually, everything they had ever cloned begins to vanish from the world. This includes their dog, Jackson. The real Jackson dies, while the clone Jackson survives. And just as Sally feared, her clone eventually enters life too. Now, the clone is the only one left in the house. A faint smile plays on her lips, revealing that while she looks like Sally, her heart and mind are filled with negativity. Alone in the house, she feels a twisted sense of satisfaction. This is, in many ways, human nature. When people gain power, they often use it without thinking of the consequences. Sally did the same, creating her own clone, which not only ended Jack's life, but also her own. So, what lies ahead for this clone? Will she step beyond these walls and unleash something the world isn't ready for? Or will she remain here, hidden away, living out her days in quiet isolation? The answers are uncertain, and that's what makes this ending so haunting. Tell me, how do you see her future? Could she be a silent threat waiting for the right moment? Or just a lonely shadow of the woman she replaced? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your theory might just be the one that changes how we see this story forever. But our journey isn't over yet, because what comes next will take us somewhere completely different, into a world where time itself bends, and one decision can rewrite an entire future. So, take a deep breath, and let's step into our second story. The story begins with Jazz, a well-known yoga instructor, admired for her extraordinary ability to hold her breath for an unusually long time. This rare skill has made her popular and respected by many. Jazz is in a relationship with Scott, though he was once the boyfriend of her friend Lily. It seems Lily has accepted this change. One night, when Jazz returns home, she finds Scott already waiting for her. Tonight, he plans to propose, with a ring ready in his hand. But before he can show it to her, a strange noise echoes from behind the house. Scott tells her to stay inside while he goes to check. Moments later, Jazz hears the sound of a gunshot. Fear grips her, and she rushes out of her room, only to see a masked intruder, possibly a thief, standing there. Scott has been shot, and Jazz watches in shock as he dies before her eyes. The masked man turns to her, saying she has seen too much and must be silenced. He shoots her. The moment the bullet hits, Jazz's consciousness is pulled into her past, the year 2000, where she is getting ready for school. Before she can process what's happening, time begins to fast forward rapidly. She sees the years 2002, 2005, even her own birthdays flashing before her. Unable to stop the flow, she draws on her mastery of yoga to focus her mind and slow her breathing to an extreme calm. This allows her to halt the rush of time in the year 2008, when she is just 13 years old. Confused, she recalls hearing that in a person's final moments, their entire life can flash before their eyes. Perhaps that is what's happening to her, but she has managed to stop herself in the past. Soon, she spots Scott, now just her classmate. Determined to change the future, she decides to keep them apart so the masked man will never have a reason to kill them. She hugs Scott and tells him they must stay away from each other from now on. Scott, unaware of her time travel, doesn't understand and walks away. Realizing she can't remain in this year for long, Jazz decides to make Scott dislike her. She approaches him, kisses him, then slaps him and accuses him of misbehaving. In front of everyone, she humiliates him. Angry and hurt, Scott declares he never wants to see her again. With her mission complete, Jazz travels back to her present, the year 2022. She is alive and unharmed, meaning her actions in the past have saved both their lives. But now, she is no longer in a relationship with Scott. The home they once shared is hers alone. Curious about his life, she learns that Scott still resents her. He has married Lily, and they have a child together. The childhood incident remains fresh in his mind, and he wants nothing to do with her. Jazz has saved them both, but at the cost of her love. Accepting the truth, she decides to leave the city and start a new chapter in her life. She knows she must live with the reality she has created. And now, she leaves us with a question. If you had the chance to save someone you love, but it meant sacrificing your relationship with them forever, would you do it? Share your thoughts in the comments.